Welcome to Minnesota here. It's a bad hair night. A little bit windy out there. Cold, for sure. But I want to talk real quickly about a thing that I observe quite frequently, and that is sovereign citizen videos. And they're all over the internet these days. And the argument's always the same. I'm driving, not traveling. You're violating my Fourth Amendment rights. You're not in I'm not in your jurisdiction. Things of that nature. They will say I'm not required to provide you documentation. I don't contract with the state. Things like that. But what if I told you that these arguments have never held up on a traffic stop, let alone in court? These are garbage arguments peddled by so-called gurus who have a winless track record in these particular cases. And they have a worse record than Steve DeBerg did as quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, he is the only quarterback to ever go winless in a season. Sovereign citizen advocates, sovereign citizens, and their so-called gurus are likewise winless in real life. Now, one has to ask themselves, why do people fall for this crap? If there's no track record of this ever succeeding, the answer is very simple. It's desperation. It's the same reason why people fall for cults. Now, the sovereign citizen movement is not a cult because of one major difference. There's not a single figurehead or a single figure at the top of a pyramid of the sovereign citizen so-called movement. But the problem is that one thing that they do have in common with the cults is that they'll have a problem. Maybe their license gets revoked. In fact, that's the most common reason. If their license gets suspended or revoked, they have to drive to work. They go searching for a solution online in Google, and boom, they run into a sovereign citizen website, which promises them this absolutely deceptive and false logic to get them out of their legal problems. And of course, that's why I tell you it has never held up once. In a traffic stop, in a court of law, every sovereign citizen video I've ever seen has wound up in some adverse action against the SovCit. And they will even go so far as to say that they're not a citizen of the United States, which is a very dangerous thing to do in these days. If they're not careful, a police officer could call ICE on them. And that hasn't happened yet, but I think sometime in the future it might. Now, the problem with this case, of course, obviously being, you wouldn't know where to deport them to. They may be renouncing their citizenship on the side of the road, but the process is a bit more complicated than that. I wish they kind of could. I wish it was possible for them to renounce their citizenship, schedule a deportation hearing immediately, have ICE take them in because they said that they're not American citizens. And, that's a consequence I wish could happen, but due to the case history and precedent, it really can't. But speaking of case precedent, sovereign citizens also forget about this little thing called the 10th Amendment, which allows states to make laws governing things that are not assigned to the federal government. So, for example, the 10th Amendment doesn't allow states to form their own militaries. They are allowed to have a National Guard under the Second Amendment. But the 10th Amendment, the Constitution, when the Constitution was written, it would be hundreds of years before vehicles were even invented. Actually closer to 150. So when vehicles came along into common being in the 1920s, people sat there and thought, these are 2-ton killing machines. It might be a good idea if we have them regulated. And so then, therefore, driver's licenses became a thing, vehicle registration became a thing, and the 10th Amendment is the umbrella under which these are allowed. Sovereign citizens will conveniently ignore this amendment because it runs counter to their fictional beliefs, which is why their arguments have never held up in court, is because of the 10th Amendment. So I'm going to list some channels in the description that are really, really good for this, or even in the title. Van Balian, Team Skeptic, Shane's Dumb Criminals is a hilarious one. Where he just skewers them in his old southern accent. It's a blast watching his channel. I really highly encourage you to subscribe to them. And also, if you want to hear any more crazy facts or even World War II history, please subscribe to my channel too. So that is it for tonight. Hopefully you had a great Saturday night. I did. I was at church singing Christmas carols. And hopefully you'll have a great Sunday tomorrow too. It's going to be another cold one up here. But at last I'll be helping move some furniture. So anyhow, guys, thank you very much. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever watched Sovereign Citizen content. Because it always reminds me that even when I feel like I've done something stupid, I'm not the dumbest person of all. That's these people. That there are people who've done really far more dumb things than I have. These people certainly have. So anyhow, enjoy your Saturday night, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, homies.